This is a Talk2Jack podcast with UnkuJack, exploring topics on heart, mind, soul, and the human experience. Let's talk. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Talk2Jack podcast. I'm your host, UnkuJack, and I'm here to talk to you once again. So, I'm a little bit grayer than I was a few months ago. Silver fox, I think they call it. I'm growing into a silver fox. Never thought this day would come. I'm at a stage now where everything's kind of changing a little bit. Things are just kind of changing a little bit. Things are moving and shifting into places they shouldn't. I'm trying to work out more, and I'm struggling more than ever to lose weight. I used to be quite active in my youth, and I can't believe I'm using words like in my youth now. And it's harder to lose the weight. It's harder to get that metabolism up. I'm eating a lot less, eating better things things are better for my health, more than I ever have in my life, and yet I'm putting on weight instead of losing it. I'm sleeping better. My blood pressure is fantastic. Cholesterol is great and all of that. But everything hurts. You wake up in the morning and it's like, and that's just turning over. You haven't even tried to sit up yet. And things just start to shift and change, right? Bones are creaking, joints are making noises that they shouldn't. You bend down to pick something up, you have that involuntary, that comes out of your mouth. You try to go for a walk and you're keeping up the pace that you used to, but you're a lot more tired now. And just basically things are changing. I remember a few years ago, my doctor said, you got to stop playing basketball. I'm like, why? I love basketball. I'm like, your joints don't. Your joints definitely don't like playing basketball anymore, so you need to stop doing that. I'm like, oh, crap. And then I remember at a point I had to start using a knee brace when I played tennis or when I tried to do anything that involved me bending my knees too much. And I'm like, oh, God, what's going on? I'm getting old. And I'm not even that old, but I'm aging. And it was a struggle. I used to make fun of my dad and his friends many years ago, not recently, many years ago. I thought, look at this man trying to act young. Look at him dressing all hip and shit. He's trying to look all fly and shit. Look at that. Trying to stay young. Look at him wearing that polo shirt with those sneakers, trying to look young and trying to be fly. And now I'm that guy. I understand a little bit more. There's a point that you get to where you have to come to the realization that you're not who you used to be. You're not what you used to be. And if you refuse to acknowledge that things about you are changing, then you could hurt yourself or someone else. I keep thinking about people who, I keep thinking about people looking, for myself, I remember there's some shirts I have, I look at those shirts and I'm like, I see the shirt and I put it on and it just doesn't fit the way it used to. And it's this mental fuckery in my head because I keep thinking, but I just wore this shirt when, this shirt looked amazing on me. And it was just amazing. I looked good. I remember standing. Wasn't it me? It was me, right? I stood in front of the mirror and it was just like, it was me, right? Or, you go to do something, like you go for a jog or a walk and you're 20 minutes into a 45-minute set and you're like, I hurt everywhere, but a year ago I could do an hour, no problem. What's going on? And there's this really huge conundrum that you face in your head where your brain is trying to tell you that you are this thing, you're this person, and your body is telling you something else. In your mind, you see yourself without white hair everywhere. But in your mind, You remember a time when your skin was as smooth as baby's milk, and how you just, you're young, you didn't have wrinkles and creases, how you could see a far distance without glasses, and how if somebody whispered in the next room, you could hear it, and how you got a strain when somebody's sitting right next to you. And I used to make fun of people who were older who tried to act young. But then as I get older every day, I start to realize that they're not doing it because they want to. They're doing it because they're fighting to hold on to something that seems familiar when everything's changing. And the thing is, in our lives, we're constantly evolving. We're constantly changing. Every day, something happens. Every day, time is not static. We're moving through time. And so we're shifting constantly forward on this plane. We're just moving. What we were yesterday will never be again. And so we're something new. But we're stuck with the memories of what was. And if it was a good was, then we constantly find ourselves tussling between that thought of who we used to be and who we are now, of what we were and what we are. And that can be confusing. And when you fight it, when you try to force it, you get into that gym, you want to lift 140 kgs like you used to, but you can't. You'll hurt yourself if you try. You want to do those exercises that you did when you were in your 20s, but you're 40 now. You can't do that. You'll hurt yourself. You want to go out and party all night in your 40s or your 30s even, but you can't do that anymore. You're not 20 anymore. Your body doesn't metabolize the way it used to. You don't have the same energy levels. But in your mind, you're like, but I used to do this, right? I used to be this. You look at your friends, you look at yourself like, but I used to get up in the morning, just jump out of bed and take off to work. And I can't do that anymore. I crawl out of bed groaning and screaming, body aches and pains all over the place, just protesting. And it's important that we remember those experiences. It's good that we have those memories of times past, of what we used to be, what we used to do, what we would be able to do. That's why it's important to live while we can, to experience things while we can, because those moments, once they pass, they're gone. They just move. And the only place that they're left is right there in our heads. And that's all we've got left. Because physically, you can't do all the things that you used to be able to do, and you want to. You have this dichotomy in your brain that wants you to remember how it was and thinks that your body can do it now, but it can't. And so I encourage people to live and experience things as much as you can, because even now, there are things that you're going to be able to do that you will not be able to do 20 years from now. And the only thing that you're going to have left are those memories in your head. Those memories in your head, those thoughts about those experiences, those things that you can relive over and over again in your head, which is the only place they're going to be, because physically your knees ain't going to be able to do those things no more. But yeah, it's important to live and experience now those things that you can. If you can, travel. If you can, spend time with friends, building memories. If you can, spend time with family. If you can, learn something new, do something new, because you might not be able to do it later. You're going to want to. Your body is going to say no, your mind is going to say yes, and everything about you is going to be in conflict because you feel like you should be able to, but you just can't. And there's nothing worse than getting to that point where you just have regrets, where you feel like you should be able to, you just can't, and you never did. So live now. Come to terms with the fact that your body's changing, things around you are changing, everything's changing, and change is not a bad thing. Change, the need to change, the acknowledgement that things are changing, is a message that you can send to yourself to say, hey, remember, now is all you've got to do the things that you need to do, so just do it. so that when things change, you won't have those regrets that you never did. You'll have the memories of all the things you did do. Anyway, that's my thought for today. I hope you found that interesting. I hope I wasn't too morbid. It wasn't a morbid topic. It wasn't supposed to be morbid. It was supposed to be an encouraging, light, fluffy, airy, talking about arthritis and things like, well, okay, well. But hey, look, I hope that you do experience things. I hope that you do pay attention to things around you and seek opportunities to experience new things and to try new things and to experience life as it's happening, because things are changing. And at the end, we want to be able to say that we changed with it and that we had the experiences in our minds in the future. So stay safe, everyone. Be great, be good, don't hurt yourself. And as always, be inspired. This has been the Talk2Jack podcast with UnkuJack. Tune in next time for another episode.